Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful day of class. By now we all should be finished reading our novel of the month, and that is The Great Gatsby by the wonderful F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is a wonderful novel. It's actually one of my personal favorite novels. I really love it because of like the romance and the betrayal and all the drama, and it also portrays really well like the American dream and how that idea gets like diminished by Nick Carraway, our narrator. It gets diminished in the eyes of him. With this novel being told with the point of view of Mr. Carraway, it gives us, the readers and the outsiders, like a whole different perspective on this book, and it gives us a point of view from his perspective, and on the world of like East and the West Egg and all of these hoity-toity old and new money rich people and how they live their lives. And although this novel is a historical fiction, F. Scott Fitzgerald incorporated a lot of accurate historical plot details from the 1920s in America at the time, including the flappers and how the people talked and wardrobe and just everything about that. So as you should know by now, we will be having our in-class writing assignment over this book next Wednesday. So it's going to take over the entire class period. You're going to have this book with you during the writing assignment, because I want you to use in-text quotations and everything in your essay. So you're going to need this. I'm not going to make you memorize 20 plus quotes. I want you to use this book during your essay, so that way you can take quotations and put it into your essay to make your essay better. So that's going to be next Wednesday, okay? We're going to prepare for that today. That's what we're going to do today, okay? So I do not want you to walk into the essay and, we're going to have, 55 minutes to take it for class period. I don't want you to spend a second of that time to find symbols and to, plan and to, I want you to just sit down and write and have time to edit at the end. So today we're going to prepare for your essay by pulling out a bunch of different symbols that we have noticed and seen throughout our book, okay? So today's assignment will help you prepare for the writing assignment next Wednesday. So what I want you to do today is I want you to brainstorm about 3 to 5 different symbols that you've noticed or you have already highlighted throughout this novel. These symbols should have a deeper meaning behind the plot, and they may help, move the story along, or they should, So I will give you one example today before we start our independent work that you can use my example in your essay and in your notes and stuff. That's fine. The one I'm going to give you is pretty generic anyways. Any website you go to that talks about the Great Gatsby symbols, this is going to be on there, okay? So it's fine if you use that one. It can be considered one of your examples as well. But I still need y'all to come up with a few more on your own. Once you've found about 3 to 5 symbols, I want you to answer these 3 questions for each one, okay? So I have on the whiteboard right here the 3 questions I need you to answer for every single symbol that you find, okay? Okay, number 1. What does this symbol mean literally? Let's say, for example, there's a symbol of a flower. What are you gonna write? I don't want you to write, this is a flower. I want you to write, it's a rose, it's daisy, it's a yellow flower, it's a pink flower, whatever. I want you to say what it is as specific as you can, okay? Because this is gonna be what it is literally. Number 2. What does this symbol mean figuratively? I want you to think maybe and hop into the brain of F. Scott Fitzgerald for a second. I want you to think, what was he trying to portray to his audience by putting this symbol into the book? What does this symbol What does this symbol mean in a figuratively sense? I think I said that correctly. So let's say that the flower I mentioned before is sinking in a pond. We can pretend, let's say, it represents death and dying. It represents destruction. It represents tragedy. You know, be creative with this. You can use your imagination. There's no right or wrong answers at this point. I just want you to come up with what you think this symbol means in this book, okay? And the third question, how does this symbol relate to the plot? Every single symbol that that you're gonna come up with should relate to the plot in some way, obviously as part of the book. I want you to explain how it does, you know. The flower sinking represents death and dying because the character was, you know, had cancer. You know, that's not in the book, that's just a random example. Okay, so I can go ahead and give you my example now so we can go ahead and get y'all moving with independent work. So we'll start with the symbol of the green light at the end of Daisy and Tom Buchanan's dock in East Egg, which is just faintly visible to Jay Gatsby at the end of his dock in West Egg. So for the first question that we talked about over here, you know, what does this symbol mean literally? Well, literally, it's a green light. But I don't want you to just put that. You know, I want you to be creative. I want you to, you know, put a little bit more thought into it. What does this green light mean? So the green light is situated at the end of the dock at Tom and Daisy's dock. It's most likely there for, you know, safety reasons for people that are in the water, like people that are on boats. Especially if it's like nighttime or foggy, they can, you know, find the light, just like a lighthouse, you know, you can find where the land is, but it's smaller. So you can put something like that. It doesn't have to be super elaborate, just don't put it's a green light, you know, put what it's there for, blah, blah, blah. So number 2, what does that symbol represent figuratively? Well, there's a few things we can say about that. So one thing that I could think of was, and your answers can be different than mine, it's fine, but something that I put was that the green light represents wealth and also the figuratively, you know, theme of the American dream throughout this novel. So in chapter 9, you can turn there yourself. Let's see, I think it's like page 114. You can go ahead and read through that chapter again if you need to, highlight any notes, whatever. In chapter 9, Nick compares the green light to how America was, like, you know, rising out of the ocean must have looked to early settlers who came here a long, long time ago of the new nation. That's kind of a stretch for me, honestly, but it's from the book. You know, you represent opportunity, and just like American Dream, it's like people come here in the hopes that they can, you know, find, you know, a job and, you know, build a family and build wealth, all that stuff. So that's kind of probably what it meant to Nick Carraway in his point of view. However, on the other hand, I think that also to Gatsby, it means something totally different. So the green light could represent to Gatsby Daisy. You know, it is on the end of her dock, but in the life that he just cannot have with her, he could not get with her. So in chapter 1, so the first time Nick ever encounters anything with Gatsby, he hasn't even met him yet, he just sees him from afar. So Nick sees Gatsby for the first time standing on his dock, and he's looking out and he's reaching for the green light at the other end of the bay, and that's where the, you know, Daisy and Tom's house is. Looking out, reaching for the green light, he's reaching for Daisy. So his entire persona, the entire plot is based around his desire to get her back, to win her over, why he throws all the extravagant parties to have Daisy stumble in, why he built such a fortune for himself so quickly, not very legally, was so that way he could impress Daisy and hopefully have her, you know, come back to him. That was his goal. So him reaching out to the green light was a really big symbol of this book. Possibly one of the biggest, I would say. And how does it relate to the plot? Well, I just said that. So, you know, take what you want from that. That's kind of an example. I'm not going to say any other ones, but they should be kind of obvious by now. Possibly, something with glasses, possibly something with dirt. Okay, there you go. There's 2 other examples, hints, sorry. Okay, now, I want you to come up with a few examples on your own, independently and quietly. So after about 30 minutes or so, I will allow y'all to gather in groups of like 3, and y'all can, you know, discuss your different symbols with your classmates. I want you to bounce your ideas back and forth off each other. It's okay if you know, someone has a similar or the same symbol as you and they have a different, you know, take on number 2 and 3. That's fine. You can, I'm not saying take their idea, but you can bounce ideas off each other and hopefully gain some more perspective for your own personal writing assignment next week, okay? So you are required to find at least 3, okay? I want you to find 5 so that way you can, you know, have a bigger list and narrow it down by the time we get to next Wednesday for the best 3 that you have. And you're more than welcome to use more than 3 symbols on your writing assignment, but just keep in mind that we will only have the entire class period to do it. So, you know, just do what you're capable of doing and how fast you can write. You know, I want you to be able to finish and edit this. So with that being said, let's get started. I'll set the timer for 30 minutes. I want you to work independently and find some symbols for your assignment. Okay, sounds great.